Happy Wednesday. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you again today. And can y'all believe this is it? This is our last live stream of the year. This is a week from today will be Christmas. I cannot believe we are already at Christmas. It's like, in some ways, this has been such a long year, and in some ways, it has just flown by. So, would love to know what your thoughts are on that. As you are joining, say hello in the comments. Would love to know that. I'm going to just kind of check our tech. It looks like we are streaming on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. Had some issues on Facebook lately, and so I'm excited to see that we're up and running there. If you are joining me from Facebook, very important that you give StreamYard and Facebook permission to speak to each other. You want to go to this link right below, StreamYard.com/Facebook. Give the two permission to speak to each other on your device. If you've already done that, you don't need to do that again. Otherwise, what's going to happen is if you leave us a comment, it just says Facebook user. And so I always want to know who is joining us and who's leaving a comment and all that good stuff. So I will also add, if you are catching this on the replay, please use hashtag replay, say hello in the comments. I know that you are here and you watch this. Also, if you have a question that you want me to answer, and this is the replay, I just ask that you tag me in it. I will get a notification, and that enables me to come back and make sure I answer your questions. And of course, you can always send me a DM over on LinkedIn. So if I'm new to you and you're new to me, let's have some introductions. My name is Beverly Smith. I am the former owner of a staffing and recruiting firm, and I am the current founder of Career Success Strategies. So I use my knowledge from my time in staffing and recruiting to help mid, senior, and executive level professionals with their resumes, with their job search strategies, with their LinkedIn branding. I know firsthand what these hiring managers are looking for and what it's going to take to get you noticed. I have a team that I work with, and I will say my team member that writes our resumes, she is fabulous. So she's also in the recruiting space as well, has several awards, and we love using that knowledge and really helping distinguish you and set you apart. So if that is something you're interested in, make sure to reach out and let me know. And I will drop you in a link later on that you can reach out to us. So last week, though, if you joined us, I had my friend Jen Ottman on, and Jen is a certified, I want to say health and wellness coach, but it's a little bit more than that. And I'm sorry, her certification actually completely leaves me at this moment. She is really great. She also has a background as a professional career woman. So she gets the stress that a lot of us see on day to day. And one of the things that what the primary topic that we talked about last week was the challenges and changes that women in midlife are facing. And midlife, y'all, starts. I'm not talking about someone over 50 or 40. I'm talking about those of you that are in your late 30s. It was such good information. So I put a link right here to my YouTube channel at Beverly Smith Resumes. You can go back and you can find that episode all right there. So with that, I want to go ahead and let's jump into today's topic because I love this topic. We are going to be talking about how to conduct informational interviews like a pro. And an informational interview, this may be a new strategy to you. It may not. I'm going to take this banner off, y'all. It's getting on my nerves. That way I can see the comments. If it's a new strategy to you, if you're not sure what it is, drop me a note in the comments. Let me know. I'm really curious. I think it is a fabulous tool. And it is actually something for the long game. I'm a big believer in networking of all kinds, but this is a form of networking that is going to ultimately pay off way better than just shooting out a bunch of resumes blindly to people or applying online blindly. This is a definite, more targeted approach that can pay off big time in the long run. And so, let me just say that in today's episode, we are going to talk about exactly why you should do it, what it is, who you should reach out to, and those kinds of things. So, as we dive in, let's just kind of talk about the why. And some takeaways I want you to take from this is a great tool for building industry insights. It is a great way to expand your network, and it can also provide you with more of a foundation so that you can make more informed career decisions. It's really important too that when you are approaching it, that I want you to get your mindset right. This is not like we're trying to immediately land a job when we conduct an informational interview, but instead, we are gathering information, hence the name informational interview. We are building relationships that y'all could definitely open up doors down the road. So, what I'm going to show you over the next few minutes is how to go about doing this, how the steps you need to take, and how to present yourself strategically so that you get the best results out of it. So, let's move into talking about choosing the right people for your informational interview. Where do you find these people? Who are you going to be asking? Well, your network, very broadly, but more specifically, you can look at LinkedIn. They can be people that you've never met in person and you want to have an informational interview with them virtually. They can be part of your alumni network. Alumni networks are huge. I find that a lot of people say that they get great results when they reach into their alumni network. And you may not necessarily know those people, but you've got that bond because you went to the same school, you graduated from the same school, you've got things in common with them because of that, maybe some shared experiences, some shared traditions. So things like that can also be just kind of a subset of that if you are in a sorority or a fraternity or a social club. Those are other great potential people to do informational networks with for the exact same reasons. Another thing is to consider professional groups that you're in. So you may be in an association that's unique to your industry, and this can be an area that you can tap into people maybe that are a few steps ahead of you in your career that definitely would be interested in helping you and sharing their words of wisdom. And then finally, also referrals. And I'm going to dive a little bit more into referrals here in just a moment, but it is definitely, you always want to take advantage of anyone that's referred to you as far as having some sort of conversation with them. So, really important too, while you're considering the people that you want to do an informational interview with, is the tendency may be to go to a hiring manager or someone above you, maybe in the C-suite if you're senior or mid-level. That's really not the point. The point is, I want you to seek out people who have navigated the industry successfully, that have the role or the viewpoint that you are looking for. like I mentioned, maybe they're a couple of steps ahead of you and they can guide you through, or maybe they've done something similar. Maybe they've made a pivot themselves and you want to know, and you're thinking about getting out of your industry completely, maybe even completely switching careers, and you just want to have a conversation with them. This is uh, a great conversation to have with someone that has already done that. So just keep that in mind as you're looking for people. The next thing I want us to dive into is I want to talk about, what do you say when you reach out to them? What kinds of things? I mean, how do you even say that and not scare them off? Because here's the deal. I don't want you to approach this, like I said earlier, like you're desperate or you're needing a job, because that is not your intention. So you're going to just create a short message that is kind of personalized to that person and clearly state what it is you're wanting to do. So, like, for example, with that might be, I hope this message finds you well. My name is Beverly Smith. I'm currently exploring ways to pivot into, and then you can just maybe say, uh, whatever industry or whatever you're wanting to do. Maybe I am in sales and I am looking to pivot into a sales manager role. And so I just named kind of specific. I came across your profile, and say this if it's true. I was really impressed with your experience. If it's true. If it's not true, don't say that. Impressed with your experience with ABC company or such and such project or this industry award that you won. So you're kind of personalizing it to them. You could also say something to the effect of, we are both alumni of Harding University, and I thought it would be great to have a conversation with you. And you can just say, if you're open to it, I'd love to ask you a few questions about your career path and insights into whatever specific topic, insights into the role of sales manager, what your thoughts are, insight into healthcare industry, insight into the manufacturing sector, whatever. You can definitely tailor it to them. And then just say something like, I promise to keep it brief, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. You might also just emphasize here too, just to clarify, I'm not looking for a job. I'm really just trying to gain some insight. And then thank them in advance for considering considering this. And you can also let them know that you would be grateful for any advice that they're willing to share. And if you admire their work, you could throw that in there as well. Just some ideas. Here's the thing. You can also do this in person as well. So maybe you go to church with someone that's made a career pivot and that and you could just, Sunday after church, just pull them aside and say, hey, I am really thinking about making a career transition myself, and it looks like you successfully navigated that. Can we go to lunch? Can I take you to coffee, or can we have a phone call? I would just love to talk to you for 20 or 30 minutes to get more insight. And, I'm not asking for a job or help finding a job, but, would you be willing to spend some time and talk to me a little bit more about that? So just, craft a message, make it very simple, to the point. You can, just almost have the same message that goes out to everybody, but just obviously it needs to be personalized to them. So one thing too, I watched a training on this very subject last week, and there was a couple of panelists on there, and I really appreciated one of them says he likes to address the elephant in the room right off the bat. about, hey, I'm not looking for a job. I'm here to gather information. I am exploring making this transition myself. I'm looking to talk to people that can give me additional insight, blah, blah, blah. And the other panelist was maybe not so much in your face with it, but she too concluded that you definitely need to kind of put them at ease. Like, you're not there to sell them anything. You're not there to ask any favors other than their information. Here's what I have found, y'all. People love to talk about themselves. People love to share their knowledge, their wisdom. People love to help people or prevent them from maybe making some of the same mistakes or what I wished I would have known. Most people are going to be willing to do that for you. And, I would definitely, if you do this in person, I would definitely buy their lunch, buy their coffee, whatever it is, wherever you meet as well. If you're doing it virtually, you might even consider sending them a little email with a gift card to a coffee shop or something like that. So just some thoughts there. Now, here's the next step. What is it we're going to talk about in this informational interview? And let me just check real quick to see if we have any questions or comments. I'm not seeing anything on my StreamYard platform, and I apologize. I did not pull up the other platform. So if you're leaving me comments, for whatever reason, they are not pulling through. So I promise I will go back and look and check to see if you have any questions. But speaking of questions, I want to transition in over and let's talk about what it is you want to ask these people and how to prepare for that. So the very first thing is I want you to research the person you're going to be speaking with. A lot of these people are going to be on LinkedIn. There's going to be good information there. You may have a mutual friend or something like that, but learn something about their background. Learn something about the company they work for, do an online search to see if there's any recent news about that company, especially like if it's one of your target companies and you're meeting with this individual because you want to learn more about this company and what it took to get on there. Another thing to research maybe would be industry trends. So really it depends on who you're talking to, what the goal of this conversation is as to what you're going to talk about. So, I use the example of maybe someone who's just done a career pivot, and maybe it's not even the same type of pivot you've done. So that's going to be maybe a little more high level, but you kind of want to know, what did they pivot from? What were they doing before? What are they doing now? Where is it that they're working? And those types of things. If you are wanting to get on with a particular company, again, you want to research that company. If you're maybe looking to go from sales in the healthcare sector over to the hospitality sector, maybe you want to research industry trends in hospitality and those types of things. Then I want you to focus your questions on, I want them to be open-ended, maybe 3 to 5 really good questions that go beyond the basics. You don't want to do anything that you can look up yourself. So this research information, allow that to trigger additional questions for you. So maybe you want to know like about company culture, how it shifted, or how they see that the industry is evolving. So, and again, the other thing is in your preparation, you are going to want to approach this conversation and take the initiative with the conversation, and remember to put them at ease with some sort of, for lack of a better word, elevator pitch, but just basically kind of what you said in your outreach. I'm really here today. I'm not looking for a job offer or anything like that, I'm really looking to gather information about. And, my background has been in X, and I'm really looking to gather information about Y and Z and see what makes the most sense for me. And, and then lead into your question. So, some ideas too on questions could be, what trends or changes are you seeing in your specific industry that you feel like professionals should be aware of? What do you think will be the biggest challenges or opportunities in this field over the next 3 to 5 years? Um, you could ask them specifically about them. What inspired you to pursue this career path in your current role? How did you navigate your career? How did you get here? Let them share their career story with you, and you're probably going to gain a whole lot of information if you'll just sit back and let it go from there. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. You may also want to ask them a question like, if you could go back in time and give yourself advice at the start of your career, or when you jumped into this industry, what would you tell yourself? Another thing that you could ask is, what skills or experience do you think are most critical for someone who's transitioning into XYZ role or XYZ industry? And you might also too go on to ask, like, are there any particular certifications or training programs or resources that you have found to be valuable in your career? That's a great question. And you could get a whole lot of information from someone that you may not be able to find, or might could help you do further research into this field. I like the idea of asking about company insights. If you're wanting to get in with that company, what do you enjoy most about working here? What should someone know before they pursue a role with your company? How would you describe the culture? We kind of talked about that one already. A good one to ask is, are there any unspoken norms or values to keep in mind? I want you to remember too that sometimes a company looks great on paper. They've got a great brand, a great reputation, but maybe they're not the fit that you thought they were. Maybe they don't quite align with your values. And so anything you can cover up or uncover in this informational interview is going to help you as you start making decisions about where and what positions you're going to apply for. The other thing I would consider asking is questions that are kind of geared towards networking. So asking about professional organizations or conferences or events that they might recommend someone looking to grow in this field might be a part of or attend, that kind of thing. And finally, always ask, who else do you think I should connect with that might deepen my understanding of this? And then ask them if they would be open to introducing you. So, you again are not asking for a job, but you're taking that networking one step further. So, real just important, make sure that your questions are tailored and specific to that particular person's expertise, to their experience. As I mentioned earlier, keep it focused on insights, but not questions that you can find on Google, or not questions, but not answers that you could just find on your own through Google or LinkedIn. And the third thing that I would say is invite the conversation. These questions should spark a dialogue and not one word answers. So you really want to get them talking. And if you can have that kind of volley to volley conversation, that's great. But even if you just get them talking and you just actively listen, you are going to get a lot of good information. So, you just want to make sure that your questions show your genuine curiosity and your desire to learn, and that also make sure that they resonate with the person that you're speaking with as well. So, okay, let's move on. I'm gonna get a sip of water real quick. And I guess I need to check and see. I don't see any questions yet. Again, I apologize if you're asking me on YouTube or Facebook. But for whatever reason, they're not coming through. Okay. Or even LinkedIn. I guess you could be asking me there. I, again, have had some few issues with StreamYard, but it does appear that we're streaming. All right. Let's move into conducting the actual interview. So this goes without saying. I feel like I should not have to say it, but y'all, after 27 plus years in the recruiting industry, I know better. Be punctual, be on time, do not be late, be dressed appropriately, greet them, be friendly and warm, express your gratitude to them right off the bat for their time. And then, come with a journal or a notebook and a pen and take notes. That way, too, sometimes you may think of a question while they're talking, right? Just jot it down. Don't interrupt them. Practice that active listening and take notes on what they're telling you. Mark off something that you want to follow up with and ask them about. Also, y'all respect their boundaries. Again, do not push for job leads. This is not about you getting a job, but keep it to insights and advice. You can ask them, like we said earlier, is there anyone else I should speak to? And would you introduce me? That is not asking for a job offer. At the end of the interview, really, really important that you kind of bring it to a close at the appropriate time. I would not make these longer than 20 or 30 minutes, unless that person has agreed to longer, that kind of thing. But, you wrap it up, thank them again for speaking with you. Let them know that you've learned a lot from their conversation. And then here's the other thing. I really, really want you to come back to them and say, how can I support you? If there's ever anything that I can do for you, whether it's sharing resources, making a connection, or anything else, please don't hesitate to let me know. I am happy to do this for you. Or, if there's a way that I can be assistance or return the favor, those types of things, always ask. And after the meeting, I want you to send them a thank you note. And I'm going to go as far as say, you should send 2 thank you notes. One should be a thank you email. Definitely send a thank you email to them. And in that thank you email, again, appreciate them for spending time with you, for sharing their insights. You might even say something if something stuck out and you want to share about the conversation. But really, all you have to do is just say thank you. And again, make your offer to help them if there's an opportunity for me to be of help to you, whether it's now or in the future. I'm really happy to return the favor. I said I want you to send 2 thank you notes. The second one is if you can get their address and send them a handwritten thank you note, I'm going to tell you, nobody does that anymore. That is something that will be extremely memorable to them. And so do that as well. Send it both places. The other thing that I will add is if you picked up on anything personal, like they've got a child about to graduate from college, or they're about to have their first grandbaby, or child's getting married, or they've got a child, you know, starting high school next year. Make mental notes of that. And these are things that you can follow up on down the road. And so, you know, just really important that you keep this like a personal connection, because again, we're building these long-term connections with them. This is not just a one and done. This is a long game that you can play throughout your career, not just during the times when you are looking for work. And you should be, because you never know what type of opportunities can come up from collaborating on projects, speaking engagements, to other job opportunities. So yes, definitely do that. So just kind of bringing this all back together. You know, our main takeaways in this is that this, again, like I said, it's about the long game here. And it is about learning or building your own industry insights. It's about expanding your network and, again, making informed decisions on your career. You know, I think it's also really important to remember that practice makes perfect with this. So if it feels kind of a little awkward at first, maybe do an informational interview with someone you know pretty well, that person at church that you know that can put you at ease. But don't worry so much about feeling awkward or uncomfortable. You will get better at doing these, I promise you. And here's the thing too, if it's someone you don't know well, that's why I've given you all these strategies about active listening, about preparing your questions in advance and asking really good questions, because ultimately you're going to be letting them do it all the talking. By crafting that message on reaching out to them beforehand, and then kind of using a form of that as you start the actual interview to kind of put everybody at ease and begin speaking with them. So, the other thing I want to share is, you know, we're headed in the holidays here. We talked about this at the beginning. Christmas is next week, y'all, a week from today. But this can be a great time for you to actually have informational interviews with someone. You know, as we head into this holiday season, it's really a great time to reach out. Many professionals are winding down their year. A lot of times they're reflecting on their careers anyway. And they have more flexibility a lot of times this time of year, maybe to schedule chats because things are a little bit slower in the office. Plus, you know what? This season just naturally lends itself to generosity and to connection. And it just makes it a really good opportunity to expand your network and build those relationships. And additionally, don't forget your own holiday parties that you may be attending, whether they are people in your network, they, you know, are just friends and acquaintances. You know, I think about my parents, they always went to a neighbor's open house every Christmas Eve. So they knew some of the people there, but not all of them. So it ended up kind of being almost like a big networking mixer. And I never really thought about that until just now, because my dad was like the king networker and he loved to meet people and make connections and things like that. But it's such a great casual setting to just ask, you know, what do you do for a living? Oh, tell me a little bit more about that. No, you're not going to want to conduct this informational interview with them then on the spot. But you might ask, you know, would they be willing to meet with you later and tell you a little bit more about their career and, you know, tell them, you know, what you are thinking about doing. Sometimes these places are going to be fabulous ways to make brand new connections as well. And then also to, depending on your family, some families are, letting them know that, hey, I'm back in the job search. So I heard someone last week even say, she uh, shared with her dad or her parents, when she decided she was going to leave her current HR position, and that what her intentions were. And lo and behold, her dad happened to mention it to someone in his network. And like a couple of weeks later, he called her father and said, "Hey, is your daughter still looking for a new HR position? Because I know of an opening." Well, long story short, the daughter ended up getting the position because of her father and his network. So don't hesitate to mention it to your aunt and uncle. Don't hesitate to mention it to your brother-in-law. Those types of things, if you never know who they're going to know as well. So, you know, y'all, I hope that this has been really helpful. And again, I invite you to leave me any questions that may have come up for you. I'm not seeing any in the chat, which concerns me a little bit. So I will definitely go back over there. But if you're catching this on replay, tag me, ask me your questions. I am happy to help you with this. I love networking. Oh, and I forgot about this too. So last February, this book came out, and it is called Brewing Success, A Job Seeker's Guide to Networking. And what it is it's a collaborative book, and I was one of the authors. Janine Bennett is the main author that pulled us all together. So if you go to Amazon and you type in Janine Bennett, you will find it. But I think I've got a link for you. Let me see if I can put that. Yes, I did. So this book is really cool. It is all about networking, and I'm going to paste that in there for the comments. There it goes. Okay, and it looks like it went to all three platforms. So at least I'm able to make comments. Okay, so it's just different perspectives on different types of networking for introverts, networking ethically, things like that. And we all were given actually a Bible verse to write our theme around. And spoiler alert, mine was Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work at it for the Lord, as if working for the Lord and not for man. And I did the chapter actually on ethical networking. So really, really a good book and a good read. And you can get it for Kindle, or you can get it this great little paperback version. And they're short little chapters. So, you could read one a day or something like that. And so if you kind of like the spiritual aspect of it, it is written from a Christian perspective. And I think that's what makes it absolutely special. So preparing for this today made me think of that. And even though this is networking, informational interview is a form of networking, and I am just such a big believer. And the other thing I'm just going to throw out to you, if you want me to do a deeper dive, like into what type of questions should I ask, and how do I research, and how do I follow up, or how do I craft an introductory letter? If you want me to do that type of live stream, I'm happy to do that for you as well. So just drop me a note in the chat and we can dive deeper into that. Also, guys, if you you are ready to make a career transition, and you want you're ready to invest in a professionally written resume. You want someone that can help you with your job search strategies, to help you get your LinkedIn profile looking fabulous, or even if you know you want to pivot, but you're not sure what the next step is. These are all things my team and I can help you with. So there, right down below is scrolling across the screen is a link. And you know what? I'll just throw that in the chat too, because I can do that. Let me grab it real quick. And this is a link to my calendar. And you can get on whenever it's convenient with you if you are ready to make that investment. This consultation is complimentary, and we do a lot of education kind of on the process as well as that kind of thing. So I would love to see that. So I've already started working on our live streams for next week for 2025. I'm really excited. I've got some great topics lined out for January. We already have a guest lined out. Karen Gombolt is going to be joining us towards the end of January, and she specializes, y'all, this is so cool. She specializes in working with leaders that have just kind of been tapped for that leadership position, and they're moving up, and maybe they're struggling with their self-worth on, do I really have a seat at this table? Or what are the steps that I should take next and how to adjust into that role? So she is going to be a wealth of information. I'm really excited. And I've known Karen for a couple of years and think the world of her. Really, really smart lady who has had an amazing corporate career in marketing and done some really phenomenal things. So, like I said, that's on the agenda. I feel like I'm rambling, so I'm going to cut this off and wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I will see you next year. Bye for now.